She was striking, a vision in blonde, a petite little thing. Her husband, a man of means, knew it. He relished in parading her around, a trophy for all to envy. He wanted her clothes so tight on her, so his friends could see her breathing. Then there was him, 25, a colleague from her husband's firm. He saw her. Not the facade she presented to the world. She was shy, sweet, sexy, and had an infectious smile. And the way she looked at you was amazing sexy. Their paths crossed constantly, board meetings, company dinners, charity galas. The air crackled with unspoken tension. He noticed her watching him, and she noticed him watching her. Her gaze lingered just a fraction too long. A blush crept up her neck, disappearing beneath the diamonds adorning it. He told himself it was in his head. It's always in my head, he thought, it's just my imagination. She was beautiful, yes, but she was married with 2 kids. The situation was a minefield, and he was one wrong step away from disaster. He was a man accustomed to getting what he wanted. Money, power, and his wife's unwavering attention. He saw her as a possession, an object to be shown off. Her desires were secondary. He never noticed the flicker in her eyes when the young man was near. She was not in love with her husband, and had just realized she was never in love with him. But he didn't notice, or maybe he chose to ignore it. Ignorance was bliss after all. He was blinded by his own ego, by the image he had crafted for himself. His world revolved around mergers, acquisitions, and the bottom line. Little did he know, a storm was brewing, threatening to shatter his carefully constructed reality. His youth was intoxicating. A stark contrast to her husband's hardened demeanor. She found herself drawn to his energy, his passion. She was falling in love. His gaze made her feel seen, not just admired. It started subtly. A stolen glance across the conference table, a touch on his arm, small conversations. A lingering touch when he handed her a drink. Each encounter chipped away at the gilded cage she found herself in. The thought of him consumed her. She dreamt of his touch, his scent, his kiss. The way his eyes seemed to see straight through her. It was wrong, she knew, but the desire was a wildfire, impossible to contain. She would bend in front of him, picking something up purposely so he could see her bottom. He caught her looking at him again. Her eyes, a stormy blue, held a depth he couldn't decipher. Was it longing? Desire? He couldn't be sure. He tried to convince himself it was all in his head, a dangerous fantasy. Yet the way she moved, the way she spoke to him, it all suggested otherwise. It was a game of unspoken desires, a dance on the edge of a razor blade. He was both terrified and exhilarated. His mind screamed at him to run, but his body, his heart, craved the danger. Stolen moments, a dance begins. They found ways to be near each other. Accidental encounters at the coffee machine, in his car, at an empty apartment in a hotel room. Late-night work sessions that stretched into the early hours. Each stolen moment fanned the flames of their forbidden attraction. Their conversations were charged, filled with double meanings and hidden desires. The air thrummed with unspoken tension. They were playing with fire, and they both knew it. But the allure of the forbidden was too strong to resist. One look, one touch, and the world around them ceased to exist. The terrace where passion ignites. It was a company party. Her husband was nowhere to be seen. He found her on the terrace, gazing out at the city lights. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine and unspoken longing. He moved closer, drawn to her like a moth to a flame. "You shouldn't," she whispered, her voice trembling. He didn't answer. He couldn't. He was behind her. He lifted up her skirt and pulled down her underwear. Instead, he leaned in, his lips brushing against hers. The kiss was electric, a collision of need and desperation. Surrender. Bodies and souls entwined, they were lost in a world of their own. Her hands tangled in his hair, urging him closer. His touch was possessive, desperate. He tasted of desire and something dangerously close to love. Clothes were shed, discarded on the cold marble floor. Her skin was soft, her scent intoxicating. He worshipped her body, his touch reverent yet demanding. She met his passion with an intensity she never knew she possessed. In that moment there was only him, only them, and the overwhelming sense of surrender. Whispers, glances, and the bitter taste of guilt. The guilt was a constant shadow. It lingered in their stolen glances, in the hushed whispers of each other's names. He saw the toll it took on her, the worry etched on her beautiful face. He wanted to ease her pain, to erase the consequences of their actions, but some lines, once crossed, could never be uncrossed. They were living a lie, and the weight of it threatened to crush them both. Each stolen encounter was a gamble, a roll of the dice against fate. She was convinced she would leave her husband, and they both knew that the house always wins. Love, lies, and the price of passion. Their affair was a whirlwind of stolen moments and hidden desires. It was passionate, intoxicating, and ultimately doomed from the start. The higher they soared, the harder they were bound to fall. Could their love survive the inevitable fallout, or would the price of their passion be too high to bear? The answers, like their future, remained shrouded in uncertainty. One thing was certain: their lives would never be the same. The consequences of their actions would reverberate long after the embers of their passion had faded away. We still think of each other today and what would have been. And subscribe and comment and visit xoxosexy.com to support this channel.